And we're back with more Resident Evil 2. Leigh and Strife here, coming out of the STARS office. And we're gonna go into another door. Spooky. I wonder if there's a zombie in here. Nope! Just statues. Yay. No zombies.
Nope.
Not having Leon for lunch. Stairs. I had to make that joke. It's stupid.
It was funny though. That was actually really funny. Let me stop
Thank
in
you.
here and drop some extra stuff off.
Alright.
'Cause now that I got this shotgun, I don't need the machine gun.
Yeah, I think the benefit, though, not just the visual quality, is, as I stated before, I do think, because Legaia was one thing, because I'd seen footage, but we didn't, like, replay it, because it's hard to replay an RPG a second time, but for something that's, like, an hour, or 2 hours, or 3 hours, you know, we played this, I got to see these for the first time in a playthrough. You know, like, I'd beaten it, but I haven't remembered really doing it. And watching it on a stream can only give so much, right? Because I've seen other people stream it and play it and whatever, and they were doing it for either, like, we're doing it for achievements, or, you know, you can only check something out because you're watching a dude try to talk over it, you know. To get the actual experience of it, give me Leon. Give us Leon.
Ah!
I'm tickling me.
I didn't realize I was standing so close to that window.
Ah.
Yeah. Keep your hands to yourself, Mr. Grabby Hands.
This is my flak jacket. I bought it with my own money. But
Like,
because we did it, and I think I enjoyed our initial recordings, but but there is something to be said about re-experiencing a thing for a second time, in lieu of we're recording it to record it, because I know what Leon goes through now. I know what Claire goes through now. I know what to expect, and I can anticipate things, and it is a. How would I describe it? There was a guy on Reddit who was asking for advice on how to deal with, you know, trying to sound genuine, or how to sound interested, or how to sound, like, energetic. I think that was the phrase he used on videos.
uh-huh.
And there is definitely an art to it. I think for me, what I found with his material, I'm not going to name who it was, he was doing a lot of horror games, and it is a reactive medium. But if you don't know what the game is going to give you, I personally find it very hard to talk for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 40 minutes without knowing, okay, I know what this game is trying to give me, so I'll give you some tips, or I know what I can talk about, or I can write, you know. To me, it's harder to do blind playthroughs, especially if something like a horror game. Because, yeah, you cut down the, oh my god, that was so cool! Ah! But there's an art to knowing how to speak on a camera when you're having nothing to do, and the game isn't giving you enough. So I thought it was a nice little give and take.
True. And, just so you guys know, one thing that you're not going to be hearing me do is warning Strife whenever there's a jump scare now. The first time we recorded this, I was literally sitting there, hey, there's a jump scare. I was like, jump scare warning. I just kept giving him jump scare warnings because I know where all the jump scares are. I've played this game more than 30 times in my lifetime. Okay. Patrol report. I mean, if you guys think a patrol report is anything special. This is back on the 20th of September at night. We received a report of a suspicious individual skulking around the sewers in the outskirts of Raccoon City. I searched the area and located the individual, but he ran away before I was able to question. I recovered the following items: a small amount of C4 plastic explosive, an electronic detonator, 9x19 parabellum rounds, infrared scope broken. End of report.
But did you confiscate a cardboard box?
And one of the things I'm doing, I'm kind of like trying to show you where there's, look everywhere. I'm not going to pick the bullets up because I don't need them. But, like, look around everywhere. Even places that you think might not have anything because they're part of the background, chances are you're going to find something. Like, right here. Like I said, just look around.
Yeah, and getting back to that discussion, I think for me, and I've said this before, I had trouble with Breath of Fire 4. This was going on 3 years or so ago. Because the first game I played on the channel was Final Fantasy VI. And I've played the game about as many times as Leigh's played this, so I kind of know what I'm doing. Then I did Breath of Fire 3, same thing. But I was like, hey, I'll try Breath of Fire 4. It can't be that bad. I've only not played it for 20 years, but it's Breath of Fire 4. How bad could it be? Convoluted streets, weird design choices where all of the buildings and walkways are layered on top of each other in an isometric style game, so I don't know exactly where to go. Everything is... And like, I'm spending minutes on end trying to figure out where to go, and I'm not really explaining, like, what my thoughts on the game are, or, like, what I am interested in, because I'm not talking about them. As opposed to something like Persona, where I can just, on the drop of a hat, just say, okay, this episode's going to be about this thing, and I'm going to talk about this character, That's what we're able to do with this, too, is we're reacting to what Leon's going through because we know what he's going through. But there is an art to making it sound like, okay, it's still a genuine experience as if we never had it. That's the key, I think, most Let's Players and whatever deal with, is trying to make it an exciting, like, oh my god, that's awesome, to, yeah, this game's great.
This is actually something that you're going to want when you find your first small key. You're going to want to come back here and get this.
I want that vase.
I like that vase too. It's pretty.
I played a game called Eye of the Somnium Files. A guy stuffed a dead body in there once.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That game's awesome. I should do that.
I kind of have... I teeter back and forth between... that game looks awesome, and that game looks like really weird, and I don't want to play it.
Is it the fact that there's an AI girl with weird white strands and... No, Aiba's great, but...
Maybe the fact that there's some chick who talks about, like, tanuki testicles and shit.
Oh, boss! Yeah. No, she has a bunch of... no, she talked about... having Date lick stuff off her heel. She just has the tanuki testicles hanging on her wall because she's a collector of weird shit.
That sounds a little suspicious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's a 45-year-old lady who runs a police, basically runs what Leon would be doing right now, except it's going into your dreams. But anyway, I always find it weird in anime. It's like either a 25-year-old lady can look 25, but she's actually like 40 or 50, or there's a 100-year-old woman who's actually looking like a 5-year-old. There's like never in betweens.
I know, right?
I don't know. Anime does weird things. Japan does weird things.
It's like
looking at yeah, go ahead.
It's like with old people, their bodies shrink a little bit as they get older because, like their cartilage wears down and their muscles retract and things like that. So they look like they're shrinking. But it's like in Japanese animation, they take it to extremes because they literally will have an old woman who's as tall as a 5-year-old child. But she's old and wrinkly and talks like she's an old pervert.
Yeah. Or then they'll have Kuja from Final Fantasy IX, and you look at him for half a second, and it's like, that is the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. Oh. Oh. And then
Ooh, he's
you
so
look at the
pretty.
Yeah, and then you look at the outfit he's wearing, and it's like, God damn it. What self-respecting guy would have a cod piece on? That guy.
Whoops.
Given what Kuja's done, I think he can lay claim to doing whatever he wants.
This is a
I
good
don't fucking
place for my first save.
cool.
Okay, so let's save our progress.
But yeah, that's it. That is something that I deal with most of these Japanese games all the time, is having to explain. Like, at time of recording, I'm going through the Rise's dungeon in Persona 4, and I've mentioned this other times where I've thought that stuff like showing off Riku's ass every chance they had in Final Fantasy X, or weird connotations about kanji and Rise are just like, what the fuck is this game trying to do? Why are you going there? They're 16 years old. Stop it, game. At least in Persona's case, they're trying to give you like a thought process and like build a character out of it. Other games are just like, we're doing it because we're perverts and somebody likes this.
Oh,
And they're
I forgot
weird.
to go back and do the crane.
Oh.
Well, I should go do that.
And to be fair, certain games like this aren't as crazy, because this is a lot more straightforward. Dino Crisis is a lot more straightforward. Because there's still the influences there, but it's not like just off the wall weirdness. As opposed to other games that are really skimpy. Like, there are some games that I really like, that are actually really well designed games, but they're basically designed as softcore porn, and it's kind of like, well, I can't play those on my channel because it's just, ugh. It's like, you could have the best designed game in the world, but if all you're doing is fan service, I'm like, I don't want to get associated with this. I'm like, ugh. The games in question are Demon Gaze 2 and Dungeon Travelers 2. They were PlayStation Vita games that got ported. Well, Dungeon Travelers 2 is getting ported to PC. Demon Gaze has been ported to PS4, but they have a lot of. Well, Demon Gaze doesn't, but Dungeon Travelers 2 is basically every enemy is a anime girl with big tits or big ass. It's like, Greg. Good to know a game has to sell itself short.
And I want to know about this. Why?
I don't know. It's just the I find it like frustrating sometimes. They get into this habit that something can only sell if it hits a checklist, or if it has a thing that, because this thing was a selling point, this is going to be a selling point, you know? Because God forbid people have different thoughts of what a good game is. Like, would I have ever played this game on my own if you hadn't shown it to me? Probably not. But I still enjoyed it, you know? And this doesn't have near the weird, stupid shit. Like, this is a really well-designed horror game, you know? But in lesser hands, this would have been, like, just a stupid laugh riot or some other type of weird game, you know? So it's just, sometimes it's frustrating to look at some games and go, you know, there's something about it that's just not quite, oh, it's that. Just little things that don't have to be there, but get there because. Getting back to that discussion of, oh God, everybody has to be super pretty, or they have to be super young despite being super old, you know, that weird thing. Or there has to be a fucking Hot Springs episode in every freaking game ever because anime did it. Like, no, you don't have to do that. I would rather just go fighting and learning about what Nanako had for lunch. You know, that'd be more exciting, but no, we gotta have a Hot Springs episode, because we do.
Okay, you know what? One of the most wholesome sort of animes I've ever watched had a Hot Springs episode.
Mm-hmm.
Fruits Basket. I mean, It's
I haven't seen that one. I've heard good things about it.
It's amazing. It is the funniest, goofiest, also most tear-jerking anime I've ever seen.
Oh, bam! You were saying?
It's about this girl who, she's an orphan. Her father died when she was, like, really little, like maybe 4. And then her mother died the year before the show starts. And she's been living with her grandfather. But he's needing to bring his daughter and her family to come live with him. I guess because they need the help or he needs the help. I don't know which. But he goes to live with them for a little while his house gets renovated so that it can accommodate more people. And during the renovations, he tries to tell her, you need to go find a friend and stay with a friend. And she lies and says she's got a friend to stay with. And her friends offer to let her stay with them. That's the thing. But she doesn't want to be a burden to anybody. So she gets a tent and goes and camps out in the woods. And still goes to school and everything. And working. She has an after-school job too. She's still going to her after-school job because she won't let her grandfather pay for her school tuition. She pays for it herself by going to work. So she's doing all of this while staying in a tent in the woods. And one night, this boy from school, who's like really super popular but doesn't ever talk to anyone, who just kind of like in the school they all call him Prince Yuki because he's like so beautiful it's mind-boggling, but he doesn't talk to anybody like he's royalty or something. All the girls.
So he's petty without being stupid. Okay.
But all the girls in school worship him like some kind of weird fan club. Yeah, it's one of those.
Oh.
They've also, the reason he doesn't talk to anybody or let anybody hug him or anything is his family they're under a curse. But he sees her, and she doesn't know it, but the woods she's camping out in are on his family property. And he's staying with one of his cousins in those woods. He's kind of like living off. He's getting away from the family estate for a while. He finds her, then one night there's a mudslide and he and his cousin rescue her from her tent. And then he goes back and gets all of her possessions from the tent. And she goes to live with them, which is kind of unheard of, but she makes it official that she becomes their housekeeper in exchange for a place to live.
I mean, it sounds like a sweet deal to me. I get free housing.
The curse comes in where like if the certain members of this family are cursed to turn into the animals of the zodiac if a person from the opposite sex hugs them.
That's oddly specific.
It's fucking it's just ridiculous and hilarious, and chaos ensues sometimes because sure enough she ends up like she doesn't even mean to hug them. She'll just like fall on them or something because she's a super klutz.
Oh, it's one of those. God damn it.
Yeah, she'll just fall on them, and as soon as torsos make contact, poof, Prince Yuki becomes a little rat. It's so funny.
I mean, the thing about those is that I think there's a time and a place for all of those. Like, it really depends on mood. Because I'm saying, like, just hearing it, I'm like, but it could be well designed. Like, it could be well written.
It's actually really well written. You just have to see it to believe it.
Yeah, because this is the thing. Was
Wait
like
a minute. I forgot to put the helicopter fire out.
The thing. Well, we can blame Fruits Basket anyway.
Yeah, we can.
I start a conversation and we go down the rabbit hole, and this is what happens.
Yep.
Anyway, but it does come down to mood and presentation, because as I've stated, like, if you have something worth saying about a character, it's fine to dig deep into a thing, even if it's an uncomfortable, like, visual design. Like, Risei's dungeon, like, boss fight is just, she's on a stripper pole, and she's a Technicolor woman with an antenna for a face. Like, okay.
Oh yeah,
That's
she's
different.
She's the little idol girl, right?
Yeah. So her whole thing is she wants to bear it all. Bearing it all is, I'm going to show everything, and it's like her boss fight. She makes weird noises and she says things like "take a look" and "feast your eyes" and all that weird shit. But the context and subtext is basically like she just doesn't want to be this dumb idol anymore. So there's at least something to be said about, oh, we're doing it to do that.
Well, yeah, because idols have really strict rules that they have to live by.
Yeah. And to be fair, that was not something that I dealt with, so Persona 4 was like one of the first instances of that.
Like, here in Western culture, we're not always aware of that, but yeah, they have a lot of strict rules they have to follow, and one of them is like no nudity. They can wear, like, if it's a girl, you can wear stuff that exposes your midriff, and you can wear like really short skirts and stuff, but you can never ever be like, you can't wear something too revealing. And also no cursing. Not allowed to swear.
Well, I'm never going to be an idol.
No swearing in public or on camera. You have to like you have to be like on a diet a lot so that you can keep your figure. You know, things like, and also like sometimes you can't even date publicly until you're not an idol anymore. Really restrictive.
Yeah, because the thing for me with the Fruits Basket analogy is, having not seen it, to me, a lot of the times when I'm trying to find a new show, and again, I'm basing this on anime, I'm using Crunchyroll most of the time, but I have like hundreds of potential shows that I can watch, whether it's stuff I've seen before and I already know I like, or if it's something new. And to me, it kind of comes down to presentation and writing, because there aren't so many stories out there that you can always say something is the newest thing ever. Like, you could have the dumbest premise in the world, but if your characters are exciting or like interesting in some way, it could still work. Or if there's you can tell if something has an earnest mindset or is just there to fill a quota.
Fooly Cooley.
Yeah, Fooly Cooley's fucked up, and it is strange, but Fooly Cooley Progressive and other things like that, they brought it back, and I don't think it had the same energy to it.
It didn't, and a lot of people panned it for that, but honestly, if it's something different than the original, I might look at it, because I hated the original.
Well, and so in going to things that I have just finished is Trigun. Like Trigun Stampede. When I first watched Stampede, it took me like 2 or 3 episodes to get what they were going for. Because yes, you had the same characters and everything in a different way, and it was just like they took away a lot of the stupid comedy that was like prevalent in the first half of the original, and they basically just said, no, we're going for a super serious, intense show right now, and focusing on a different way of, because there are times when nostalgic properties like,
okay, this doesn't
Resident
look like
Evil
a
2.
standard handgun anymore, does it?
No.
Okay, the reason I actually brought this with me and equipped it for a minute is so you could see why the handgun parts might actually be a good thing to pick up. Watch what it... You remember how it was firing just like one bullet slowly at a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Watch now.
Ooh. Dang.
It fires little 3-bullet bursts quickly.
Damn, that's nice.
Yeah.
Um,
But
I'm still
keeping the shotgun.
It's fair. And for me, I think again, it does come down to personal preference. It comes down to your mood because how you're feeling and what show you're wanting at the time or what game you're wanting to play at a time does make a difference, because maybe you want the stupid comedy because the stupid comedy can help balance out a character when they're doing the serious moments. So then when the serious shit does happen, like one of the reasons like Trigun, the original, worked so well is because they spent like the first 5 to 10 episodes making Vash out to be a stupid moron until they drop the hammer in the last half and they say, nope, this was what we were planning this whole time. Not in like a haha got you sort of thing like Doki Doki Literature Club or something. It was, we're serious now, stop fucking around. And then it gets really fucking dour. So Fully Cooley for me it was strange for the sake of strange, but I think the characters fit. I just don't think there was enough to it because they only did like 6 episodes. Progressive comes out 10 or 15 years later, and it's like, I don't know. I do have to rewatch it because I did watch it and did like it for what it was, but I don't remember. Because that's the thing. It's like I don't remember it as well.
Look how pretty the herbs look out here.
Yeah. They look like bonsai trees.
They do almost.
And speaking of tone, like Nier, like if you've heard of what Nier is, Nier Automata and stuff like that, like you cannot play that stuff unless you're. I've heard Automata. I've heard Automata.
You know what? Automata is because Demon can't pronounce shit.
Well, if I ever do get around to it, that's going to cause me more trouble. It's going to be a Nibelheim all over again.
It's literally automata.
Tomato, autoimmune disorder. Something like that. Oh. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'll do, because I was watching footage of a guy. Every time he introed a new episode, he found like people in his chat to come up with different phrases. So near autoimmune disease, auto transmission, auto transfixion dysfunction, whatever, just random stuff rather than having to say automata or automon or automon or automon.
On the floor moving its head. You can see it. Look at that. It just turned its head.
Oh, man. Well, he's dead.
He's gonna be dead. Look at him.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, getting back to Nier, it's like whether you played the Replicant, whether you played the old school one with the father in it, or the boy within it, the new remake of Replicant, or Automata, or however, the autoimmune disorder disease.
Replicant is the one with the dad. And Automata is the one with 2B and 9S.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think they released Replicant with the kid version or the brother version, which is honestly less. I liked the dad version, personally. But, I mean, it's technically the same game. But, again, either way, you kind of have to be in a mode for that sort of thing. So for Nier to succeed, it has to like fully commit to that premise and go with it. And from what I've seen with Automata, that's how I'm going to say it, just because I'm so used to it now, is it's not as like, haha, got you, until way late. I haven't gotten that far, but it is getting there. Because the guy making those games is like Hideo Kojima if he had like no restraint on how to make people sad, because that's what he's looking for. Because Yoko Taro is the type of person to put Emil's head on his head as his public persona. So that guy does weird stuff. So it's not for everybody. This game is not for everybody, but if you appeal to a bunch of people, then there's something to be said for that. The problem becomes if you do use a cliche or you do use a certain thing like fan service, and that's like all you're doing, like those games I mentioned, it's like you're going to really dissuade people from wanting to play your game, even if it's a well-designed experience. Like I said, Dungeon Travelers 2 was a decent experience. There was another one for the Vita and for the PSP. It was called Criminal Girls. And the gameplay was actually a unique take on turn-based battles because they'd have all four characters give you like a macro to say, we'll do everything in this setup. Like all of us use buffs, or two of you attack and then we'll defend and whatever. And the bosses were actually pretty freaking difficult. But the game would focus on this stupid fan service mechanic, which could only appeal to people that are like 18 or above because, haha, it's funny, we're using fan service. I'm like,
how did I not get a jump scare there?
I don't know. Were you not against the wall?
I was supposed to get attacked by a licker jumping through the mirror.
Yeah. So again, for me, it's like, even if I'm dissuaded...
Maybe it's because I haven't
ahead.
been in the other diamond door yet. I usually go in the other diamond door first.
That might be it. But again, it's like trying to sell somebody on a playthrough that we're doing. It's like, what are we doing that is different, or what are we doing that is exciting, or, you know. And to be fair, not everybody's going to like the way we do things, and that's totally fine. Because you cannot, that's the thing I don't like, is trying to appeal to every single person on the planet. Like, you cannot.
Nope.
But if you can appeal to enough people, but also not come off as, hey, we're doing a bunch of fan service, come watch our smut. I'm like, it's not what I want to be associated with. But a thing like this, which has a pretty good way of doing survival horror, it's a good mechanic, and it's got, you know, Leon's a bit of an idiot most of the time, but he's endearing in his stupidity, you know, and obliviousness, but he's at least... And he's not, like, clumsy and dumb, because that would be stupid, right? Like, if he was clumsy and dumb, I don't think he would be as good. He's just out of his depth, which makes sense.
Part of what made him so appealing in this game is the fact that, one, he's honest, a little naive.
Yeah.
His heart's in the right place. His heart's in the right place, and... he genuinely cares. You could see that if this was in a position where, you know, like if this game had been in any kind of position to show him actually on the job, he would have you would have seen him actually, like, he's got a, back when he was young like this, he had a very caring personality. He gave a shit about people, and you could see it. That's what made him such an appealing character.
And then they turned him into pseudo Dante. But again, it was a different type of game they were going for by then, because this is much more, we're fighting zombies. And in Resident Evil 4, you have zombie Napoleon and weird people with chainsaws. And you're getting bitten. Ah! But again, this appeals because this isn't trying to be... How would I describe it? The difference between Metal Gear Solid 1 to Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. Like, as goofy and as dumb as Metal Gear Solid 1 can be, it's still kind of grounded. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you get to 2, 3, and 4, they're just like... no, nope. Like, we get your fun Snake moments, but we're doing some weird ass shit. So it's different, you know. So there is something to be said for a game trying to take itself as seriously as it can.
This right here is where you actually learn what the date in the game is.
Oh.
It's today's date, September 29th, Michael Festival. I forgot to show you that the last time around.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, Marvin.
Oh. God, that is disgusting. Oh! Oh!
Holy smoke! I don't know. Marvin, Leon doesn't know you that well.
Wow. Blew his entire torso off and he's still going after him. Damn.
Yep.
So in the end, I do think it's important that people are like, you know what you're getting into, but you can always be surprised. Like, far be it for me to sound like a curmudgeon sometimes, but there is a way for things to still surprise you. Oh. We look forward to you being on our team. Welcome!
Yep.
Ugh.
Okay, and then that.
Yeah, because I said the same thing about Legaia. I was shocked when we started digging deeper into it, just how intense of a game it was.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
I
you
was like,
definitely weren't prepared for how dark that story got.
yeah, because I was expecting, hey, it's a fantasy setting, it's got some darker moments, but they're not really going to get that far, are they? No, they did.
Pretty much, Strife expected. I think you were expecting the game to be all cute and cheerful and happy because it had so many bright and pretty colors and stuff in it, and all the characters were really colorful looking. But that game was far from bright and cheerful.
Yeah, I was expecting the surface level version of Final Fantasy IX, and what I got was the actual version of Final Fantasy IX. That's what it reminded me of.
There you go again with the Final Fantasy references.
I've cut down on that, admittedly.
Code G Human Body Experiment, September 15th.
But again, it is a good counter. It is a good comparison because when you look at Final Fantasy IX, it looks all cheerful and oh god, look at the hippo people and all the cool races of people and princesses and it's all gonna be cool and it's a throwback to all the Final Fantasies. And then you realize what Kuja's actually been doing most of the time and what he perpetrates through the entire game, and you're like, oh.
I could take the evidence room, get back to the hall that way, but I'm going back through this hallway again because this cord in my inventory, there's a place I can use it.
Yeah, you said in the first playthrough there was 2 spots for it, wasn't it?
There are. One is the basement I'm heading to, and the other is right here.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, this shutter. Because that will stop the grabby hands!
Well, at some point, this is one of those things that you can do that affects the B scenario for the other player. Using this cord, either here or in the hallway that leads to the basement, helps Claire out in some way.
Huh. That's cool.
Like, it makes this hallway a safe place for her to be until she reaches the library.
Yes, because we've seen what those grabby hands will do for Leon. Imagine what they'll do for a young girl.
Well, that's not the grabby hands hallway.
Oh, it's the liquors. I forgot.
That's the liquor hallway, yeah.
Ah. Oh, good, because that's way worse.
Okay,
by the
so
way,
now I'm headed for the store.
Yeah, speaking of grabby hands, I was watching somebody play the Pixel remaster, and they got to the part where Ultros was attacking people on the boat, and his lines in the original weren't this bad, but he talks about Terra because his stuff changes depending on who he's going to attack. He goes, "Ooh, what a tasty morsel! I'd love to wrap my tentacles around her." And I just fucking stopped. I was just like, and the guy streaming was like, dude, I want a fucking refund. What the hell was that? I'm like, whoa. I did not know Eltros was that creepy. I mean, I know he's I mean, wow. But still, it's just like, there are limits that a game should go, I think. And I would not expect a game like that to go that crude. I expect Final Fantasy VII to get crude because of Wall Market, but that's Wall Market. Or I expect a game like this to might go crude, but they are too busy dealing with zombie dogs, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you never know what you're gonna get with certain games and their dialogue. But then again, I'm reminded of that guy. I think it's the chief. We'll not get to that until Claire's scenario, but. Oh no, doggo! Ah! Stupid doggo.
You have no idea. Let's come over here and turn the power room on first.
Right. Where are we at? 40, 35. I was wondering if there was a. Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Right.
You
Cool.
don't have to wait
So
for me to get to save points, remember?
Yeah.
I can just hit the pause button.
Sorry, I saw us getting to like 40 minutes. I'm like, yeah. Well, but that does mean we make further progress each episode, so there is also that benefit. But anyway, we made it downstairs and we killed some zombie dogs, and we've still got a shotgun and a pistol that shoots a lot of bullets. So we'll keep on going with the downstairs area next time.